Welcome to the Morning Report. I'm your host, Willie Lawson. Get ready to kickstart your day with an independent conservative perspective that tackles today's top issues head on. Join me as I bring you insightful analysis, thought-provoking discussions, and unfiltered commentary that cuts through the noise, whether you're sipping your morning coffee or on your daily commute. Tune in to the Morning Report for a fresh take on politics, culture, and the stories that truly matter. Get ready to engage, empower, and energize your mornings right here with me on the Morning Report. Let's dive in. Well, good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, and fightbackmediatv.com. I appreciate that you are doing well this glorious Monday morning. I saw a reel from a guy named Matt who does a lot of Southern stuff. It's very short. He said, listen, wherever these heat advisories are coming from, especially here in the South, y'all can stop it. Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. Thanks. I mean, no one has to be advised every day. We got it. Super hot. Be careful. Stay hydrated. You know, a lot of times it is the appearance of what is going on that drives people insane. And sometimes it's what's really going on. I think this is a story about what really happened. And the more of this information comes out, the angrier people get, which is why people are the way which is why people are reacting to media and government like they're acting. For those of you who just don't get it, I don't know why people are so upset. They were just trying to help. Here's why. So while the entire country was under authoritarian mandates, top so-called COVID-19 experts were making hundreds of millions of dollars on the pandemic. That caused lifelong hurdles for a lot of Americans. A lot of people are still recovering financially. There's a generation of kids or a whole segment of children that were held out of school for almost 3 years, that it's going to take a very long time for them to get that back, if they ever get it back. Some people's mental health was irreparably damaged because of the constant fear porn that was being shoved through media and social media. I mean, just continuously. The lies, the half-truths, the innuendos, but the fear was the biggest problem. Some people were irreparably damaged. But according to records, the former NIH director, Francis Collins, and former NIAID director, Dr. Anthony Fauci, made huge profits from royalty checks during the Chinese virus-fueled pandemic. At the same time, again, thousands of people struggle to put food on the table. I mean, we were in a position where there were soup lines and food lines going on. I mean, yeah, it was all happening. Open the books. A transparency organization released over 1,500 unredacted records revealing leaders of the country's National Institutes of Health and National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Diseases profited off the viruses that killed thousands of people. On top of that, Fauci funded the Wuhan Institute of Virology to research coronavirus. It is not a conspiracy theory. It is not guessing. It is a fact that Fauci was responsible for funding gain of function research that happened at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The records show that Collins and Fauci got 58 royalty payments for allowing companies to use their COVID-19 vaccines, which in return was developed with funding from, of course, US taxpayers by private pharmaceutical firms. This was a money grab of gargantuan proportions. So, in other words, the COVID pandemic was one big ploy for the government to get massively wealthy. And through the Freedom of Information Act, 56,000 transactions were recorded, totaling $325 million banked by the experts. The NIH continues to refuse to voluntarily divulge the names of the scientists who received royalties, and from which companies over the period of time from 2010 to 2016, 27,000 royalty payments were made to 1,800 NIH employees. Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky said, "We know that. And it's not because you told us, it's because we forced you to tell us through the Freedom of Information Act." Kyle Becker tweeted, top COVID experts ranked in 58 royalty payments during the pandemic while Americans suffered. Between 2010 and 2021, Fauci received 37 payments from 3 entities, including 15 from Santa Cruz Biotechnology, which ranks 5th in royalty payments. Fauci also received 14 from Ansell Corporation and 8 from Chiron Corporation, which later bought Novartis, got to say this right, Novartis, allowing the company to obtain significant NIH funds. According to Open the Books, the names and license numbers for each payment is absent from the records. Data that the NIH initially withheld, but was later forced to release by a court. This information is essential to know if there were any potential conflicts of interest. Records show that Fauci, who was the highest paid federal worker with a 2022 salary of $480,000, failed to donate his royalties as he promised. It was a big money grab. And if I'm not mistaken, please correct me in the comments. The person who is in charge of ethics in that department and that organization, Fauci's wife. I think as this goes on, we're going to find out more and more that we were hoodwinked, that we were feared into submission. And while that was going on, some of these people were just getting richer and richer by the minute, which explains what? Why some people didn't want it to end. Now, COVID hasn't ended, like the president said. I have a very good friend whose father is still who's in the hospital now fighting for his life due to COVID going bad in his body and causing all sorts of havoc. I just have to wonder out loud if there was another treatment plan for him that he might have gone to before it got this bad. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to mention any of the drugs and the alternative treatments. I'm not going to mention any of them, but there were alternative treatments. So we pray for Mr. Joss and his family and my friend Nicole. What a mess. What a mess. What a mess. It's really tough. I mean, it is super tough to go through these things, these situations in the way that we're going through them and not be frustrated. You feel me? And not be frustrated. While people were losing their homes because they weren't being allowed to charge rent. I mean, these organizations were raking in more than $250 million, while people were being told to stay home. Oh, stay home. Here's your $600. While others raked in, while these people raked in more than $250 million, a third of $1 billion, really. And they were getting, and we're supposed to be happy about the $600 check and our unemployment. No, it's just, I don't know. It's it is absolutely outrageously amazing that somehow these folks sleep at night. They do. And how do they sleep at night? They sleep very well. They sleep on down pillows and they sleep under, 1,000 thread count sheets. That's how they sleep. They sleep well. While a lot of us were sleeping afraid of how we were going to pay our bills. That's how the rest of us were sleeping. We were sleeping terrified. And that's what they wanted. They wanted us to sleep terrified. It's awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah, and we're still talking about it because I think there can be no COVID amnesty. These folks need to be held accountable. And their misdeeds need to be remembered. We won't be fooled again. We won't be fooled again. All right. I want to talk about something else too, because this has been irritating me for a long time. I mean, and it's almost a daily thing. You may not recognize this person behind me. For those of you who are watching or listening on, looking for the thing to clean my glasses with. I don't know where it is. I don't know. I'm still looking. It's not here. The person who's behind me, if you're listening on and you're not watching, is Lizzo. Lizzo is a pop star um, who plays flute too. You know what? She's not a bad flute player. I mean, I've heard her flute playing. It's not bad. I mean, it's not something that, I guess she could probably do some really good classical flute playing because I think she's classically trained. But Lizzo is the one of the proponents of the body positivity movement or whatever, and has said some things, and of course, in her shows, because of it, has a tendency to dress fairly provocatively. Uh, Lizzo's a big girl, and she just is. And I'm not saying, and I personally, I'm not saying one thing or the other. But I tell you what, I am going to talk about. I am disappointed in people who call themselves conservatives, people who call themselves Christian, and the way that they refer to Lizzo. I'm not a fan. I couldn't name you one Lizzo song. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of how provocatively she dresses. I don't think that's a good example. But I wasn't a fan of Alice Cooper either. I'm not, and I'm not a fan of a whole bunch of people because I'm not anybody's fanboy. I'm not. But what I'm upset is that or about is that every time these organizations, I even saw tonight a reel from the Blaze. I had a lot of respect for the Blaze. There was a clip of Lizzo getting on the back of one of those a golf cart. There are two people up front, one little skinny girl and the driver, and Lizzo's a big girl. I don't know what her weight is. I don't have any idea. I don't know her like that. I haven't asked. I haven't tried to research it. I'm not gonna take a guess. I don't know. But she got on the back of that golf cart, and when it took off, the front wheels came off the ground. You know what? It's happened to me. It's happened to me. Um, but the problem is that the Blaze, who was supposed to be talking about things that are and has historically things that are very, very important, extremely important, and intellectual, has resorted to let's laugh at Lizzo because she's fat and treat it like it's important and talking about it like it's important. I understand that Lizzo is a cultural target in this culture war of whatever. I get it. My thought is that we have to be better. In order to win people and win elections and go forward, we have to be better. Let's stick with the things that are important. Getting into situations like, but Lizzo's fat. Look how fat she is. Isn't that terrible how fat she is? It's also a losing argument. It's a losing position. It's a losing argument. This middle schoolish, we don't like you because you're fat. We don't like you because whatever. You can't sit at our table because whatever. That can't be part of the dominant conservative media message anymore. I'm not asking anybody to apologize to Lizzo. I'm not asking anybody to do anything. I don't, you know what? I know she's in this whole thing about some of her dancers who are mad at her because she was, I don't know, trying to tell them what to do. I don't know. And I don't care. I mean, frankly, I just don't care at all. I mean, not even a little bit. Um, but, and that'll get worked out one way or the other. I don't care. But this constant barrage of attacks of this woman because simply because of her weight, and of course the way she dresses on stage at concerts that you will never attend. I know I won't. I did a TikTok video and I posed the question: if Lizzo did a classical flute or Mozart flute, Mozart Handel, Bach flute album, would you download it? Would you download it off of Spotify? Would you buy it for $14.99? If she was just playing flute, classical flute, the answer is no, you wouldn't. You're only angry or you're only vocal about this stuff because other people are, and you're just going along. Well, you're going down the wrong path. You're caring about stuff that doesn't matter. And how Lizzo dresses at her concerts that you don't attend, and you don't your kids attend, or do you? So what? Who cares? This constant barrage on this woman is completely a losing strategy. Completely a losing strategy. I wish her well, but I wish you well too. My name is Willie Lawson. This has been the Morning Report for August 14th, 2023, in the year of our Lord. Until I see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye bye now.